So it's very interesting because we talk about the assassination of JFK and we still don't have answers on that. Well, you have the answers that they want you to think are correct, but we still don't have answers on that. We still have all of these classified documents that Donald Trump did say that he was going to release last time he was in office, and then at the last moment decided not to release them. And so we have all of this secrecy surrounding that. And even though we have that happened in the 60s and we still haven't gotten all of the answers on that, it seems like the left is pushing for us to just stop asking questions about Donald Trump's assassination attempt. Think about it. It's been 2 months since the assassination attempt. What do we know? What do we have answers for?
Well, this is a larger psychological development that's been noticed since the 50s with the advent of television. And just bear with me here, because this is really important. But you guys are smart, you know this, and most of the audience probably knows, but it's important. Attention spans have gotten shorter and shorter, almost down to a goldfish. If you look at children's cartoons, they've sped them up, made them really jumpy to not make sense. That's very discordant on purpose. So they know that people, A, can't differentiate subconsciously from aliens killing people in an invasion on a Netflix show versus real gang members breaking your neighbor's house.
Yeah.
So people see Saw and all these, hundreds of thousands of simulated murders and these shoot 'em up video games and things. And I'm not saying censor them, just know the effect, to where now you're desensitized to real life stuff when it happens. So that's why my grandfather was a highly decorated combat veteran, saw a lot of stuff in World War II. And even when he would take my dad and younger brother to the movies, and if there was a bunch of blood or something, he'd say, "Get up, we're going out of here." And it wasn't because he was a wimp. He'd seen real stuff. It wasn't a joke to him. So he didn't like violence. He liked to go watch like Dumbo, Disney, because he was tough. Yeah. But now we've all seen so much death and destruction. We hear about dead babies, 70 million abortions. Yeah, keep babies alive, selling their organs, big deal. There's a desensitization, and the establishment is even worse in them. And so that's what's happened with Trump. I mean, this was a bullet grazing his ear. 1 person dies, 2 are injured. There's a total clear stand down. The Secret Service lies to Congress. I mean, they did it. The Secret Service didn't shoot the shooter. One of the cops did. They did this. They were planning to kill him. Not all the Secret Service, but from the top down. And so even that day for like 7-8 hours, they were like, oh, they heard some popping noises. He fell down. Reuters, others. And they wouldn't even call it an assassination for about a week. And so they wanted to just brush that along, move over, don't worry about it, and just move on. And so that even boosted him more and made him so iconic, they hope it goes away. But the problem is that the corporate media and the FBI director are saying, well, we're not even sure a bullet hit him. And the day later, oh, actually it did, grazed him because it was coming towards him. He didn't hit something and then a fragment hit him. It's that those of us as populist Christians, conservatives that say we're dialed in, I catch myself even every day not having urgency. They're going to try it again. They're desperate. I said the 2 days after it happened, I said they're going to blame Iran. And when you see them pre-program that, they're going to try to do it again. The 3 days after that, they go, yeah, Iran's going to try to kill Trump. Oh, we busted plots to kill Trump. Could Trump make the Secret Service stand down and let that guy be there for 90-something minutes and wander around with his rangefinder and then on top of the roof for 26 minutes and about 7 minutes, people saying he's got a gun? I mean, my God, there's cameras behind Trump and you can see the guy with your eye. For folks that don't know about cameras, normally, at 150 yards, you couldn't even see the guy. He's right there on the camera crawling along. This was insane. Total stand down on every level. They had to go through incredible work to do this. They wouldn't, for the first time, let the Secret Service, local police sync their radios. That one event, they hadn't covered for a year at CNN, any of his rallies. That was all covered. They were going to get the Kennedy head blow off situation to try to create civil unrest, blame it on right-wingers, and really bring in martial law. And we've had Jamie Raskin, all these Democrats saying, we'll have civil war conditions when he wins. They're preparing big stuff. So we're 54 days out. Then there's a 76 days when he's before the inauguration, when they're really going to pull the stops out. And they've had John Podesta in the New York Times in 2020, and then now, oh, we're not going to accept him if he wins. But if he questions it, oh, he's a bad terrorist. Right. So, and of course, J6 is worse than Pearl Harbor and 9/11. This is preposterous. So we're in the most dangerous time ever. And people that aren't awake are kind of punch drunk and don't even know what's happening. Those of us that are awake, though, live so close to the tyranny that we become kind of comfortable with it. We've got to get back in our minds and be frosty and have urgency here, because this is the most important time in human history right now.
Yeah. And you know what? To that point, I feel like I don't want people to forget. They want to memory hole it. I don't want people to forget. So I want to play this video as many freaking times as possible of that moment of Donald Trump your former president getting shot. Watch.
You see something that said, take a look at what happened.
2 millimeters off from having his head blow up.
It's a head turn. Like, just the head turn saved his life. A slight turn ends up saving his life. Now, I'm glad, Alex, that you mentioned the life that was lost, because they really want to memory hole that. We're not supposed to talk about that. But that's a minor head turn is how close we were to just total civil unrest.
Oh, yeah. And to Alex's point about just how desensitized we are, it's especially dangerous because it's not just that we're totally desensitized, but also the media has also programmed them to be like completely rabid towards anyone to the right of like Hillary Clinton. So I forgot which day of the week that happened, but the following Monday, if you work
Saturday.
like a normal job, well, maybe not the Monday after, maybe the Thursday after, if you'd gone to work, you would have seen like your liberal coworkers drinking out of coffee mugs with that image of Trump's head, like exploding like, a watermelon. Right. It'd be totally merchandised. They would wear it. They'd think it's the cutest thing ever. If any of us ever posted something lamenting that happening on Twitter, they would be replying with that footage in the the replies to it. They'd be thinking it's like the funniest thing ever. It wouldn't have been some Zapruder tape from 50 yards away. That would have been 4K high quality. Oh, you thought you had a representative? Well, look at him now, LOL. And it's like, okay.
It's all about them pissing on us. That's what drag queen story time is with the convicted pedophiles. Mm-hmm. That's what all of it is them just letting us know that you're done. We've broken your will, because they think we're like them. They think being dominated like their bosses do them would make us give up. No, it's doing the opposite, and that's where they miscalculate.
Right. Do you think that Thomas Crooks, how do you think that came to be? Do you think the FBI was like coaching him? Do you think that they were...
I know there's patterns in politics and history with agencies are the clearest thing. Previous activity is always the greatest indicator of future activity. Almost every so-called mass shooter or bomber mastermind worked for the CIA or the FBI. Mm-hmm. Anybody watching, just write this down. I'm not making it up. It doesn't sound real. The Unabomber was in a CIA mind control program, MKUltra. Adam Lanza, Sandy Hook, was approached by an unnamed federal agency to work for him after he hacked the CIA. The word is CIA. The Aurora shooter, the Batman shooter's dad runs the DARPA NASA Human Brain Cyborg Interface program. He was a volunteer for it in DARPA mind control projects. Crooks, sitting there with all these government connections, working, training at a main facility where the feds train, his cell phone data pinging at the FBI headquarters, people saying he was planning to do it, nothing be done, over and over again. Then you've got the shooter who was now we know pro-transgender, looked transgender, saying he was mad, and they were saying he's coming to kill for months. That day, the mom calling, he's coming to kill. The dad reportedly does nothing. He's been charged with manslaughter counts. And so he also was connected in to the feds in a bunch of different ways. And the feds knew, and he was on their radar over and over and over and over again. So it's even beyond the Governor Whitmer plot, where they get a bunch of homeless young white guys, give them thousands of dollars a month, free marijuana, and then it came out in court because the FBI accidentally gave it to the defense, what they erased. The defense knew how to go into the memory chips, the memory thing, and do that forced program where if you haven't overwritten it, it's still there, and got the actual recordings like, I don't want to kidnap the governor. I want a pizza. Literally, you're going to go do that or I'll kick your ass, FBI agent.
Yeah.
So it's beyond just going out and finding Islamic groups to try to get them to go do something, which the FBI has done. It's not hard to get them to do that. Some of it's real. But with militias, it's always synthetic. And in some cases, they actually can get them to do it. And then it's the same thing with these shooters. They're protecting them. They're nudging them. Mm-hmm. They're there. Sirhan was drugged. The guy that actually shot Robert F. Kennedy was working for the CIA. That came out. There were dozens of known CIA guys in the crowd that were even in famous photos at the Ambassador Hotel. I mean, you got Lee Harvey Oswald working with the CIA. That came out later. Mm-hmm. George Herbert Walker Bush was the CIA project manager in Dallas that day, photographed there. I mean, I could go on for an hour. I mean, I know I am. Literally for hours, how each one of these people has this background connection to the government.